Hey everyone, and welcome back. Super excited. We have Khulan Davaajav, who is a product marketing manager for Gen Media. So, hey Khulan, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Good. Excited to talk about Gen Media because I feel like we don't talk about it enough, and you are one of the experts here. So, before we dive into the amazing demo that I know that you have planned, let's set the stage for everyone, right? About Gen Media. We've seen a lot of rapid innovation here in this space. Can you walk us through like the full landscape of the different generative media models that we currently have available at Google?
Yeah, of course. So, one thing I would like to point out is that oftentimes especially at Google, we say Gen Media, Generative Media, and our customers and developers are like, what is Gen Media? What is Generative Media? So, I wanted to kind of lay the ground and introduce everybody to the concept of generative media models. So, if you see on my screen now, generative media models is an overarching concept that I like to call for Nano Banana, which is our image generation model, image generation and editing. Then we have Veo, our lovely video generation model, and Gemini Audio is a family of models for transcription, for text to speech generation, and lastly we have Lyria, which is for music generation. And some of these models we are literally launching almost like every week or every 2 weeks we have a new update. So there's a lot happening in this space. So I just wanted to get everybody on the same board. So when we do talk about generative media or Gen Media in a shortened way in all our sessions at Next and everywhere else, everybody knows that it's for creative AI.
Very
Yep.
cool. And so, what have you built here today? Like, what is this aesthetic? I love it. The visual style is
Yep.
incredible. We know that Nano Banana gives creators a ton of control over their artistic direction. So, what exactly are you going to show us here?
Okay, so let's dive into a video demo that I built today for that's using all our generative media models from image to video to audio as well as music. So, and then we're going to dissect step by step like what actually we created for each of these. So let's play our demo. So by the way, this is a story of really like me overeating with snacks when I'm working from home. So just made like a mini story about that.
Personal inspiration.
This is the greatest mystery of working from home. At 9 a.m, you tell yourself just one jelly bean. But as time passes, you get exhausted and snack, not even realising how much you've eaten. Then, 5 p.m. hits, and a miracle happens. You shut down the laptop, and suddenly this hidden store of energy is powering you for the night. But then you crash. The inevitable sugar crash. But hey, you can't beat the commute. This is the glamour of working from home. Well, we'll most likely do it all again tomorrow.
That was adorable. Real life inspiration, right?
Exactly. Like, I think the biggest danger is when I work from home because I just eat so many snacks. But even when I come to the office, I'm still eating a lot of snacks.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to avoid. You really have to have self-control.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is amazing. I love the artistic direction here. What exactly did you have to put into the prompt to get this specific texture and lighting?
Yes. So as you see on my screen, like I essentially created with Nano Banana to all the frames. So I kind of storyboarded actually with Gemini, kind of what story do I want to say, what kind of imagery do I want to produce, and I was really going back and forth with Gemini to create the entire story, including the visuals. So you see, every single image you see here has been animated. Um, and as an example, like I really wanted to get down to this like 3D render style, very smooth, soft touch. Everything is kind of rounded geometry. And more than just the texture of the actual like character and the video itself, I wanted to focus also on the camera, what camera it was shot on, right? So 33 millimeter film, that was like a huge thing. Then I wanted to have the glossy highlights, halation and luminance into it. So that's kind of I would say like the one amazing thing about Nano Banana is that you can really control it with your artistic kind of decision you want to make. And that's something that I know a lot of creatives have been really like happy with, that you can really go down to the deep level of like what camera type was used, what lens type was used. So that's kind of a showcase of that essentially here.
I feel like, at least from my perspective, it's hard to even come up with that specificity as like a creative, but like not that creative person. So I feel like there are some tricks to coming up with these prompts, right? What do you
Yes.
do?
Okay, so what do I do? Essentially, I love just going through different creative work. So I use oftentimes like Behance or Instagram or other different places just to get inspiration. I'm like, what do I actually want to create today? And I feel like as soon as you see like, I don't know, hundreds of images, you kind of feel like, okay, I think for the story I'm going for, I need it to be comedic. I want it to be happy and positive. So for that, I was like, I need things to be rounded, look like 3D render. I don't want claymation really. So it was really me going, getting inspiration, then to use that inspiration to give it to Gemini in the Gemini app. And I was like, hey, help me please distill the artistic style, the photography, like kind of terminology in terms of like camera lens and what type of lighting we want and all that. And it really helped me dissect every single image that I give it to from a texture perspective, but also from the camera setting perspective. Yeah.
So you can use AI to help. And
Of course.
you should. Yes.
Yes, you should. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have these beautiful static keyframes that you've created, and you now need to bring them to life. So you're using our newly launched VO model, as I understood, video light model for this. So for developers and some of the marketers watching, why is this video light the right tool for a campaign like this?
So VO 3.1 Lite just launched it about like a couple of weeks ago. And it's amazing because it's our most cost-effective model on the market right now. And, when we say light, it's not really sacrificing the quality. As you saw, the quality is really good here too. And one of the other things I really like about it is that it has a fast generation speed. So I think most of the frames I generated with under 60 seconds, which is pretty impressive for a video model. And I believe, I don't remember the recent pricing, but it's like one of the most cost-effective models out there. So yeah, that's kind of what I did, and I can show you kind of how I use the model now to generate the exact frames that you saw.
Okay.
So in this demo screen, so you see that the top images, you saw them before in the Nano Banana kind of section that I gave you, like all the frames that I generated. So I put the image as the first frame, and then the second image as the last frame. And one of the prompts I used was just like, make the bottom text appear like a puff or like a magic, and he understood my intent because I was just typing. I was like, let's do something, let's figure something out. And it somehow understood that puff is exactly what you see on the screen.
Yes.
So it really understood intent really well. And so this is another example where I had the first frame of the character turning on the radio and then dancing. And when you see it, the way he finishes dancing is that exactly in that position. And then more than that, you don't have to always do first frame, last frame. I think first frame, last frame is amazing if you really want to control the beginning and end, everything that happens in between of the video that you're trying to generate. But if you are, if you don't really care about the kind of first and last frame, how they begin and end, you can also just do first frame. So here, as an example, I just did an image, first frame, and then I said, pan the camera around the character. And this was the result of that. So you don't always have to do two images to generate first frame, last frame video.
Yeah, and it still did a really good job at understanding that, really inferring what it should look like behind, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
And I would say one thing for developers who are watching, when you are building a video application, let's say with VO 3.1 Lite, really try to think about how are creatives using these models and think about the prompts they're inputting, right? So for example, you'll very often hear creatives using the prompt dolly zoom or camera panning, right? And then you're like, okay, instead of having now my creatives to have to prompt that all the time, why don't I build that as a feature inside my application where it becomes part of the prompt when a user clicks on that button of 360, degree camera movement, things like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about sound, right? Because a silent video only gets you so far, and music here is, as I understand it, it's been really timed well. And so you see the sudden shift of the music changing when there's the disco party at 5 p.m. And I know that we just released this Lyria music model late last month. So how are you actually directing the music to change exactly when you need it to?
Okay, so I'm going to show you here. Basically, Lyria 3 Pro is amazing at really understanding your prompt, like when you add these timestamps that you see on the screen. So one thing I realized is Lyria 3 Pro understands exactly like the musical composition of a song. It has vocals as well, but for this demo, I only did the instrumental because I was like, I don't need it to be distracted by a vocal. But it's amazing at kind of understanding timestamps. So for example, in the video, you saw that when he starts dancing, because he's turning on the radio. By the way, all the sound effects in that video were created using VO 3.1 Lite. So essentially, like when he's yawning, when he's turning the radio, it's all created with the VO 3.1 Lite. And that's amazing because I don't have to go and find sound effects now, right? Because it's part of the video.
Or another model.
Exactly, or another model. And but amazing thing with Lyria 3 Pro is that you see that when he was dancing, the music all of a sudden went up because I literally prompted that here, and as well as when he's then has a sugar crash and is lying down on the sofa, you see there is a lullaby box like sound playing, and that exactly happened in 0.25 seconds. So that's something that's amazing with Lyria 3 Pro. They can control. And let me put it this way. In the past, I would have to go find different soundtracks or background music from anywhere like online, and I would stitch them together. Now I'm like, oh, I can just give Gemini my video and ask, I would like to generate with Lyria 3 Pro a sound, like a background music, and I need it to be timed exactly based on the video. Because Gemini has a great multimodal understanding, it understood that obviously when he's like falling asleep, that means lullaby, right? So I did not actually write this prompt by myself. Let me put it this way. Gemini helped me write it. I just told it I wanted to be comedic and fun, and it then wrote me this prompt, which then I put into Lyria.
Yeah,
So,
that's incredible, just like the amount of control that you can have now, but it also is AI assisted, right? So you don't want to fill in all the gaps. It's like, well, we have a contextual understanding of what's going on in the scene, and we can help you fill in those gaps.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely must say, Gemini, the multimodal capabilities of Gemini are amazing because it really goes frame by frame, understanding the video, and then helping me generate prompts for music.
Oh my gosh, really cool space right now that's happening. Now, the voiceover, I want to shift to talk about that because that's kind of tying all of this together and has so much personality. And so it doesn't sound very robotic at all. I know that we literally just launched Gemini 3.1 Flash, text-to-speech last week. So how do you direct an AI voice to actually emote and sound human?
Okay, this is my favorite launch of all time, I must say, last week, and I'm going to show you here. So Gemini 3.1 Flash TTS has around 200 tags that you can control the expressiveness of the voice. So here you see I use this prompt, but again, by the way, I just gave Gemini the 200 tags that it can use, these square bracket tags, and it helped me build out this prompt. So essentially, the way you can control the expressiveness is using one of those 200 tags and put them in a square bracket that you see here in the blue here on the screen. So the positive, panicked. So every time like the model reads it out, it'll read it out as positive or as panicked. And so you may have also heard him laugh at the end, right? So you can, I had that tag there as well. And the thing is, some of the other sound effects that, let's say you're yawning, you can also generate through here and then just clip in, add it into video. But one thing that I really like is that you can change the style of the voice. So for this example, I wanted to be like comedic, British accent, casual, So I was like, hey, let me make it British English first of all, then a comedy narrative style, and have the person have a British casual accent. Because before it was giving me like a very like Queen's English, and I'm like, this is not video for that.
Not the vibe.
Not the vibe. Exactly. So I really like that you can control the kind of add instructions to the style of the voice, and then on top of that, this expressiveness, which makes it really like fun to play with.
It makes you realize how far we've come from the monotone AI voice generation days.
Exactly.
Now you can actually control the exact emotion and exact pinpoint of the video that you want. So
exactly.
Really cool.
And one last thing I want to mention here is one of our colleagues actually, he built a demo where he has Gemini 3, I think, Flashlight adding these tags programmatically onto, let's say, 200-page audiobook. So you don't have to manually like add these tags, page by page. Yeah. So just using all our models together, that's where you get really the power.
Yeah, truly. It's like a team for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I hear that you have one more really cool thing to show us, right?
Yes, I do. Okay, so first of all, I just want to summarize generative media models that you see now. In the video, we use Nano Banana, VO, Gemini Audio, and Lyria. And we have one more thing to show you today, which is, we just launched this today in preview, and that is Gemini 3.1 Flash Live with the live avatar feature. And we're going to actually demo this right now. firstly, I just want to show you something. So currently, the weather in Las Vegas is 77 Fahrenheit high, and then low is 56. Okay. The amazing thing about this model is that it connects to Google Search, so it can answer you with the live data from Google Search. And so let's try a demo. I'm gonna start a conversation. Hi, what is the weather like now in Las Vegas? The highs and the lows.
In Las Vegas today, you can expect a high of around 78 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of about 56 degrees. It looks like it'll be mostly sunny during the day and clear at night. Anything specific you were planning?
No, thank you. We are now at Google Cloud Next, so we're just living our best lives here.
I love it.
Yeah. I need to scream louder.
It is a loud environment, but that was awesome. So it literally pulled live data from Google Search, and you can create this at any point, just create an avatar for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many use cases here, right? Like education. Let's say if you want to learn something and you don't want to just like read a book or just read text, you can talk and have a conversation back and forth, right? And I just feel like our models are really helping people rethink, like how do we actually learn, build, create? And this is one of the most exciting things I've seen like this week, where I'm like, oh, I can see so many different use cases for this for myself, like in my personal life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest differences is we've seen AI avatars, right, on the market, but this is live. So it's not a static video or image, right? You
Yeah.
can actually interact with it. You can use it for things like education or training or, whatever, like even live
Yeah.
video streaming if you wanted to, like
Yeah.
we just did. So that's really incredible. Are there any aesthetics that you like, different aesthetics? Can you kind of prompt it, or how can you
Yeah,
create
so the
one?
team has built actually a bunch of different pre-built avatars. So you can pick one of them. You can change the voice as well, and then that's kind of, you can do a lot with this, and it's really exciting that it's like live audio to audio. That's kind of the highlight of Gemini 3.1 Flash Live. It's audio to audio. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, but it's all abstracted away.
Yes.
And that multi-layered, multi-model approach is kind of
Yeah, like the lip
condensed down.
syncing, for example, right? It's
Yeah.
like, it's really accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just covered a lot. This is super exciting. You've been playing around with both generative image models, also video models. We have this new avatar. What are you most excited about as a creative today? And what's changing? What are you excited about?
Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, I'm excited about, I would say, two things the most. Number one is world models. So as you know, we have Genie 3. It's not on cloud yet, but that's kind of a world model is something that is really going to change how people just see and interact with the world. Number one, from a robotics perspective, but number two, as a creative, I can now be the camera operator inside a world, and I can just like actually go inside the world and be the person kind of doing things. Whereas with normal like image and video generation, you're just creating frame by frame, like individual assets, right? But in the world model, you are the camera operator just moving around, which is amazing. And then there's so many use cases around world models and creativity. So that's that. And the second thing I'm really excited about is for the day when the latency of like the time it takes to generate images and videos will lower, because a lot of creators will tell you you're in a flow state. You're like creating like this amazing things, and then you have to wait for 2 minutes for something to generate, right? So I think a lot of people are excited in the space around like lowering the kind of time that it takes to generate images and videos and world models and things like that.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
will continue to be the case. So it is a
Yes.
really exciting time. I feel like you're becoming more and more of your own director, but also, as you said, it's like you're taking that first-person POV as an operator too with world models.
Yeah.
So a lot of changing parts in terms of like how we're positioned as creatives. But thank you so much for joining and giving us this awesome
having me.
demo. Yeah,
Thanks
latest
for having
stuff
me.
coming from Gen Media from Khulan. And just to let you know, everyone, if you want to try out anything that you've seen in the live stream today, we are going to link code labs and things that you can actually play with. So be sure to check out the links that we include in the comments. All right, see you on the next one.